We tend to think about the future of AI as this slow, steady evolution, right? Like a gradual climb. But what if I told you the entire trajectory of artificial intelligence didn't just evolve? It pivoted on a single day. What if the entire rule book was just torn up and rewritten in 24 hours?
I know, it sounds a little dramatic, doesn't it? Could one day really be that big of a deal? I mean, could a few announcements completely change the entire race for AI supremacy?
Well, the answer is a resounding yes. It happened. On October 10th, 2025, the game was completely upended. So today, we're going to break down the 3 seismic shifts from that single day. We're talking about a fundamental change in AI's brains, its brawn, and of course, the fallout that came after.
All right, first up, the brains, the technology itself. For the longest time, the race in AI was all about scale. Just make the models bigger and bigger, a brute force approach really. But on this day, the goalposts, they just completely shifted. It wasn't about who was biggest anymore, it was about who was smartest.
So the old playbook was pretty straightforward. Just throw more data, more parameters, and more computing power at the problem. But the new paradigm that landed on October 10th was all about reasoning. This is a totally different ballgame. It's about teaching an AI to actually think its way through a problem, deeply and efficiently, not just regurgitate facts it's memorized from the internet.
So how'd they pull that off? Well, the key was a pretty amazing technique called reinforcement learning on chain of thought. Now, instead of just training an AI on the right answers, this method actually rewards it for the process, for following a logical path to get to the answer. Think of it like a detective solving a case. It's not just about knowing who did it, it's about piecing together all the clues step by step. And the results were, well, they were just jaw-dropping. OpenAI's new model, O1, didn't just beat the old one, it blew it out of the water. We're talking about a model that could hang with the top 500 high school math students in the US, a model that hit the 89th percentile in competitive programming. And this is the real kicker, it actually exceeded the accuracy of human PhDs on complex science problems. This wasn't just an upgrade, it was a genuine quantum leap.
So what's the big takeaway from this first massive shift? It's simple, really. The competitive advantage completely flipped. It's not about hoarding data anymore, it's about building AIs that can actually, truly reason.
Okay, so a technological leap like that, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum, right? It immediately triggers a huge shift in business strategy. This is where the brawn comes in, an unprecedented race for dominance. Basically, this is where the money started to follow the brains, and fast. $45 billion. Let that sink in for a second. That's how much venture capital money poured into the AI sector in just 1 quarter. That's not just a big number, it is absolutely staggering.
And just to put that number in perspective for you, this wasn't just a big slice of the pie. It was almost half the entire pie. 46% of all global venture capital, all of it, was suddenly chasing AI. This isn't just a hot investment trend. This is a fundamental reweighting of the entire global economy around a single technology.
So what do you do with that kind of cash? Well, you don't just invest it, you build an empire. A whole new strategy emerged, vertical integration. The biggest players had this sudden realization, hey, it's not enough to just have the best AI model anymore. We need to own the entire stack. We're talking from the silicon chips all the way up to the final solution for the customer.
And the perfect example of this in action was CoreWeave buying Monolith AI. Yep, that was also announced on October 10th. The playbook here is just beautiful in its simplicity. You've got CoreWeave with the massive computer power, the cloud infrastructure, then you have Monolith with this super specialized engineering software. You put them together and boom. You can walk into a company in aerospace or automotive and offer them a 20 to 80% boost in R&D efficiency. That's not just a product, that's owning the entire value chain.
And believe me, this wasn't just a one-off thing. This trend was popping up everywhere. We saw it in biotech, where AI companies started buying up drug research firms to speed up clinical trials. We saw it in data infrastructure, where database companies were snatching up tools to feed real-time data into these new, powerful AI agents. The AIs that can actually go out and do things on their own. The message was crystal clear. Consolidate your power or get left in the dust.
Okay, so let's recap. You've got AIs that can reason better than PhDs, and you've got billions of dollars chasing them. So what happens when you put those two things together? You get the fallout. This created a kind of pressure cooker environment for the entire industry, revealing brand new problems and forcing a new set of rules.
It's kind of like this. If everyone on the planet tried to build a skyscraper on the same day, you'd pretty quickly run out of steel. Well, in the world of AI, that's exactly what happened.
we hit a massive, systemic bottleneck in the one thing everyone needed, the hardware.
And that steal in the world of AI turned out to be something called HBM4, or high bandwidth memory. The easiest way to think about it is like a super high-performance fuel line for an AI's brain. You can have the most powerful engine in the world, but without that fuel line, it's just a useless, expensive paperweight. The chips literally starve for data.
And this is where it gets wild. Look at what happened in October 2025. The online conversation around HBM4 didn't just grow, it exploded. We're talking a 99 times growth rate, completely overshadowing every other AI topic out there. That right there is the sound of the entire market screaming in unison that it's found a new choke point.
So when you have that kind of insane demand and a tiny supply, what happens? Yep, costs go through the roof. Not just money, but energy costs too. These advanced models are incredibly power hungry. The only way forward was to get smarter, to get way more efficient. And this gave rise to the whole green AI movement, this massive push to design everything from the software to the chips for extreme efficiency.
And the results of that push were pretty incredible. We're talking about a potential 70% reduction in the energy needed to train one of these giant models. Now, that's not just a nice way to save on the electricity bill. That's a genuine game changer. It makes this incredibly powerful technology more accessible to everyone, not just the handful of companies who can afford the massive power draw.
Okay, so we've seen the shifts in the tech, in the money, and in the resources. But what does this all actually mean for you, for me, for anyone working in or around this space? It means the old playbook is officially obsolete. So let's break down the new one that was written on that single pivotal day.
Let's tie this all together. Here are the key takeaways. First, the race is no longer for bigger models, it's for deeper reasoning. Second, the winning business strategy is now vertical integration, owning the whole value chain. Third, the big challenge is resource efficiency, everything from that precious HBM4 memory down to the electricity bill. And finally, and this is maybe the most important point of all, when AI gets this powerful, this fast, making sure it's safe and aligned with our values isn't just a nice to have anymore, it becomes priority number one.
There's a quote from author and researcher Brian Christian that just hits the nail on the head here. He said, "The technology is effectively running away with itself, creating serious ethical and safety implications." Running away with itself. That really captures the urgency we're talking about, doesn't it?
And that's really where we are now. On October 10th, 2025, two things happened at once. AI started thinking deeper than ever before, and the industry started consolidating power faster than anyone could have predicted. A brand new playbook was written in a single day, and the big question that leaves for all of us is, are we ready for what comes next?